Yeah. So I would say I have been self-described at times as an AI skeptic. All right. So let me lead with that. Um, it's not an all or nothing thing. It's not black or white. We're clearly seeing some major changes from AI. The issue that I see, or what I'm skeptical of, is that we are forecasting this future where everything is done for us. Um, agentic commerce. People think that e-commerce websites are going to cease to exist and it's just all going to be based on back-end metadata. I don't believe that to be the case. Happy to change my opinion if I'm wrong, but what I always do is focus on what the consumer is doing first and always think through the eyes of the consumer if you want to know where markets are going. So I thought, you know what? I don't know how I could see patterns with my own behavior shifting a lot of what would have traditionally been a Google search to a Perplexity AI search. And it was clearly powerful and a step change in certain types of searches. So I was like, well, I don't ever want to assume that everyone's behaving like me. Let's see what the actual data says. So I spoke to a former colleague and friend of mine who runs a company that called Datos that looks at behavioral data on search activity. And they have fantastic data, and they ran out an analysis for me. And I said, what I want to see is what's happening with the early adopters, right? The headline right now is that AI search has gone from about 2% to 5% of total searches now, which is notable. It's not nothing, but it's still on the margins. But what's it going to be going forward? And so they did a cohort analysis where they looked at people who about a year ago, I think it was April 2024, were already using AI search, and how did their share of search visits shift over time? And in 1 year, it went from 8% of searches for them to 39%. And when I saw that, my eyes just about popped out of my head. And I said, that is a major consumer shift, really, really happening really, really quickly. Okay, but is this just early adopters, or are other people going to act the same way as they start to adopt? And so I then had them run out a cohort analysis looking at every 3 months, looking at a new cohort to see what do their adoption curves look like. And while their adoption curves weren't quite as steep as the earliest adopters, there was still a pretty steep adoption curve. And that told me that, you know what, we can expect as this filters into the mainstream that we're going to see a huge percentage of searches going to AI search. So the game is going to change. Now, the one big but in all this is that it's not taking away from Google searches yet. It's actually incremental. And this is often how new technologies unfold, is that you just layer it on top of an existing behavior. Over time, it will probably eat into traditional search, but it's not there yet. So it doesn't mean that the whole Google search ad market is upended overnight.
Probably there are people that will start talking, oh, the end of Google, but it's not the case. Yeah, you and
Yeah, it's
talking
going to
about
take
the
some time to play out. One other thing though, so there's also a lot of conversation about agentic commerce. This is the thing that I have a hard time buying into. I believe that my searching will probably get me better results when I'm searching for, product searches. And it may introduce information in new ways and may facilitate certain parts of the whole path to purchase. But this idea that I just type in a prompt and say, I need some sort of product for some occasion, and I just let the agent go off and search and then buy and do everything for me, and then I get whatever they decide to buy for me delivered to my home. Like, I don't see that happening. People don't part with their money easily. They like options. They like to feel confident in their purchase. They actually need to see what the other options are. So then if you start thinking about every phase of the path to purchase, there's almost a required intervention by the human on almost all of the steps. So then I'm like, well, is that agentic commerce at all? The whole idea is that it does everything for me. So I think it breaks down. You need every chain on the path to purchase to have agentic really provide that utility. And I just see potential for too many broken chains for it to ultimately be true.